One. Hold on. I said good morning. All right, I like the energy on this side. What about this side? All right, some of you still waking up? The rain got you a little in your feelings? All right, well, I am Lene Johnson, and I am a Brazoria native. I grew up just down the street from here, and I'm really excited to host this panel with you all today. To give you a little background about myself, I graduated from Swinney High School, class of 2002. Bulldogs, any Bulldogs in the house? Oh, y'all gotta come stronger than that. Bulldogs, but I went to University of Houston 20 years ago. It's hard to believe because I still feel like I'm like 19, but went to University of Houston 20 years ago, and I studied marketing and management after changing my major about 3, 4, maybe 5 times, so I can talk to you about that. And I worked for the volleyball team while I was there, so I got to travel, meet a lot of people, went through a lot of experiences, and I worked at University of Houston for quite a while, and now I'm working in admissions at a graduate school of biomedical sciences in the medical center. So I'm really excited to talk to you all today and to let you hear from some recent college students so that they can share their experiences with you. William?
Good morning, everybody. My name is William Polly. I'm not a Brazoria County native, but I am from Houston, Texas. I happen to work now in Brazoria County at the Levi Jordan Plantation with the Texas Historical Commission. I'm actually one of the first African-American professionals to be hired out here, and we're focused on now telling the full, complete story about the history that happened on the plantation. That's speaking on the lives of the enslaved and the indigenous people who actually had their land taken from them. So I'm from Houston, Texas. Like I said, I went to Thurgood Marshall High School. I don't know if anybody's familiar. I ran track there, and it afforded me the chance to go to Prairie View A&M University, where I studied undergraduate in political science and got my master's in community development. While I was at Prairie View, I happened to run track, and I was on the 4x1 record setting team. I'm an NCAA All-American, and I'm just happy to be here to talk to you guys as well, too, because while it sounds like I had a great time in college, it wasn't always as easy as it sounded. So I'm glad you guys came out today, and I hope we get you guys excited about attending college and furthering your future. So thank you guys for coming out today.
All right, so we are gonna ask our 4 panelists to come on up and join us. We have Byron Randon II. We have Kaylin Amy, Cambria Amy, and Garrett Epps. All right, so we have some preset questions that we're going to be asking them. And as they're talking, we want you all to feel free to ask questions, and we'll also open the panel towards the end for your questions as well. So we'll go on and kick off with each of you, and we'll start with Garrett from my left or my right. And we'll have you tell us your name, your school, where you went to high school, if you know your major, and why you selected the school that you're attending in your major. I know that's a lot, but.
My name is Garrett Epps. I'm a sophomore mechanical engineering major at Prairie View A&M University. And the reason why I chose Prairie View is because they have a really reputable engineering program, and I wanted to experience the HBCU and the HBCU culture.
My name is Byron Randon. I went to Swinney High School. I'm a business major, and I picked Prairie View because it has a good business program, and I want to be I want to go to an HBCU.
My name is Kaylin Amy. I graduated from Swinney High School. I'm currently in my 2nd year at Mount Mercy University in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where I play basketball and I study computer science.
My name is Cambria Amy. I graduated from Swinney High School. I now go to the University of Texas at Austin. I'm a freshman, and my major is health promotion and behavioral science. I picked it because the academic program.
Awesome. Thank you all. So can you tell us about when you started seriously applying to college? At what point within your high school career?
I started seriously applying as soon as applications opened up in the beginning of October my senior year. I was trying to be like the first to get accepted and to start claiming scholarship money early on. Those were my goals and aspirations.
I started applying for scholarships like late in my senior year, and I wasn't taking it that serious until I figured out how serious it was.
I started applying for scholarships a little bit after I got my SAT scores. We took a mandatory one junior year. So as soon as you get your SAT scores, you can really apply for scholarships and things that apply to you. I mean, they're just sitting out there, so you should do it early.
I started applying maybe like October of my senior year.
Okay. Byron, before you go, Byron, you mentioned until you realized it got serious. How did you know it had gotten serious?
It's like all the money that you can use on the scholarships and the money they give you, instead of using your actual money to pay for your school.
Yeah, and it's free money just sitting out there. So I would recommend that everybody, as soon as you get your SAT scores, to apply as soon as possible, because it's just money out there waiting for you all to use. So, hey, why not take advantage of it? What would you guys say was the most time-consuming portion of the application process?
Like scholarship application or college?
Yes, sir. The college. The scholarship application process.
Probably the most time-consuming part would be the essays. Some scholarships require like a similar essay that you could just change who you're addressing. Some scholarships require a totally different essay. And so I would say motivating yourself to do it, for one, figuring out what you want to talk about, and trying to separate yourself from your peers who are also applying for the same scholarships.
Same thing as the essays and what he said. It's like they got stuff you can write about, or you can just write about your personal life.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. I think the essay, just being original, trying to stand out. It's hundreds of people applying for the same thing, so trying to come up with something that give you a reason to why you deserve it.
Yeah, the same thing. The essays took a long time.
Yeah, and I would honestly recommend again, hey, in those essays, be you, like he was saying. It's a bunch of people applying for these same scholarship applications, but it's only one you out there. So, hey, if you put your best foot forward and it's for you, hey, can't nobody stop it. Did anybody help you all when you all were filling out these scholarship applications, or was it kind of just a one-on-one thing with yourself?
I had the help from my sister. She's a little bit older than me, and at the time she was teaching communications, so writing was like something she could really help me with. So at the end, we were doing like one a week. I would send over like my ideas and thoughts in a rough draft, and she would correct it, and then from there I'd go into putting it in the format that the people want to see it from and proofreading it one last time. So I always had the help from my sister.
I had the help from my mom. She was on my back 24/7 about them scholarships. And I was like, not annoyed, but like it was so much. But now I really appreciate it, and I wish I would have done more.
I had help from my grandma. I really didn't know where to start or what to apply for. And obviously she'd been doing this for a long time. She got other grandkids, so she helped me and she put me in the right direction. And it was easy for me, so.
I had help from my high school at the time. They put out a lot of like scholarships and things like that on the website, and then my grandma too. Like she told me about the scholarship applications.
Can you tell us some of the specific scholarships you applied for?
I applied for a lot from the Martin Luther King Foundation.
I applied for the MLK ones, and I applied for one that's called Show Up. I think it's Show Up and Show Out, or something like that.
Okay.
The same. I applied for the Martin Luther King Foundation, Swinney District Willing Workers. That's a good one. There are a lot that I applied specifically through my university. Like once you get accepted, you have access to their specific scholarships, and I'm gonna say I probably apply for like 50 of them because majority of them don't require an essay once you start applying through stuff through your school.
And that was a big part of how I got through school as well. I'm glad you mentioned that, through general scholarships. So once you are enrolled into these schools, you have access to a database that everybody doesn't have access to. And like he was saying, it's literally thousands of dollars out there for students, and nobody applies, so it's very easy to get those scholarships. So I would recommend, once to our college students already there, go on those websites on your database with your student number, and I don't know the websites for all your schools, but go look at those general scholarships, and I'm sure it's a lot of free money out there waiting for you all.
And some of the scholarships are like the same thing, so some of them you can just copy and paste what you did and then put it right there and you're done. You just got to submit it. That's it. And it's that easy.
And whether you're receiving financial aid or not, you can look for your Sally Mae representative for the school that you're attending, because sometimes they can tell you about scholarships that are very random. Some of them are based on what you're studying as far as your major. Some of them could be based on the color of your hair, or if you're playing sports in college and not receiving a collegiate scholarship. So be on the lookout, because as they've mentioned, there's a lot of scholarships out there, and a lot of students don't even know to look for them and to apply for them. So now we're going to transition. We talked a lot about applying into college, but now you're in college. So we want to learn a little bit about your college life. So how has the transition been going from being a kid in your parents' house or grandparents' homes to being on your own in college?
For me, the transition was difficult. I would say you're 100% responsible for you. There's nobody down the hall that's gonna come and get you in order or come and wake you up. And the biggest thing to me was understanding that like stuff that you're used to doing back home, like getting up for 7 o'clock, 6:30 for school every day, is not the same when you're in college. It's a lot. You use a lot more energy throughout the day, and so when the next day comes and you want to get up for an 8 o'clock class, you're gonna be fighting yourself. You're gonna be trying to stay asleep. You're not gonna be focused when you get in the class. So I would say just learning like yourself, learning what you can handle, and learning what like your boundaries and limitations are, and building your schedule and building your time around that.
The transition to college was kind of easy to me, but one of my main things is figuring out how to manage having fun and when to get your schoolwork done.
The transition for me was kind of difficult. I think it was more the time management. Just knowing that your schedule is completely going to change. I don't know how many of y'all are going to play sports in college, but going from a high school schedule to where you mainly have practice after school, where it's basically an option for you to play, to where you go to a university and they pay you to play. So it's like your job. 6 a.m. workouts to going to 8 a.m. class to finding time to eat breakfast and do homework and just being at different places. Sometimes you got to be at seminars for your class for extra credit or something like that. You don't have a lot of time to do anything, honestly. But then you have to make time for your personal life and friends, and so you don't get too caught up in doing work to where it's not fun for you. It's supposed to be one of the best times of your life. So just time management. Time management was the hardest things to do in college.
The initial move-in for me was probably like the hardest, because I cried for like the first 2 weeks after I left my grandparents. So like that was probably the hardest, was being away from my family. But once I got into it, like it wasn't hard. I just had to like stay focused and do my work.
I almost had a wreck with my sister when I left home because I was crying so hard. I almost hit her from behind because I did not want to leave my parents' house. Now, they mentioned time management, having fun, all of that. It's a hard balance sometimes, right? You want to have fun, you want to go to all the parties, you want to do well in school, you want to achieve if you're playing sports, you meet a lot of new people and you have a lot more exposure, especially if you're from this area that's a little smaller. You have a lot of more opportunities to do things. Can you tell me about your experience as far as having new opportunities, balancing fun in school, things you may have learned?
Definitely, definitely. I also was a college athlete, so it was a lot placed on me when I initially got to college, but one of the biggest things that my coaches told me when I first got there was, if you can make it through the first semester, then you'll probably be successful and can make it to graduation. So I barely made it through my first semester. Nobody laughed at me, okay? I had a .7 my first semester in college, so I was having a little bit too much fun. So the biggest thing was, like they were saying, is time management. I was having too much of a social life and not much of a educational side of the school portion of it. So I was on academic probation for that second semester, but after that I ended up getting a 2.0 in order to stay in school, and then the next semester I actually got on the dean's list, so I had a complete turnaround. Thank you. And I ended up also getting my master's degree while I was in college. So Prairie View was a unique place because I don't feel like at another university I would have had that same opportunity. I feel like maybe if I would have did that bad and my coach didn't have that personal relationship with me, I wouldn't have been in that position to still been in school. But I was grateful, I was thankful, and I made sure to make myself and my family proud after that first semester. So if you get through that first semester learning the time management skills, you guys can be very successful in college, and I have no doubt that you guys can. So
thank you for sharing your experience. I'm gonna skip mine. So when we talk about studying, is studying the same in college as it was in high school? I see some head nods, I see some stares. Tell us about the difference in studying in college than high school.
For me, the difference is you cannot study by yourself. Like, it's not wise. I'm not gonna say it's not possible. It's just not like a wise decision when you're surrounded by like some of the smartest people like in your generation. It helps to like network and put yourself out there and build a relationship with your classmates. So when it's time to do a homework assignment or a project, or you have a major exam coming up, y'all can put together a study group, or y'all can start the study group way before exam time. Like I still have my same study group from my second week in school, from my first semester in college, and we take classes together, we do our homeworks together, we study for exams together, we study for quizzes together. I would say studying is not the same. High school for me was, I see it once, I do the homework once, 2 weeks later I can show up on a quiz or exam and ace it. In college, repetition is what matters, because you can try that same study philosophy, and when it comes time on the exam, you're gonna panic because you're gonna see it in a slightly different format than you've been practicing, and you're not gonna immediately recognize how to do it, and you're gonna start off in a deficit because of it.
Yeah, you took the words from me. It's like networking and getting with your classmates and getting in study groups, and that's going to help you a lot.
Studying is nowhere near the same in college. It's completely different. A lot of you will have a class where they actually teach you about the differences from high school or college, and one of the first things they ask you is, how many of you studied in high school and took tests and aced them? And almost nobody raised their hand because nobody studied in high school. You didn't have to. And I was one of those kids that didn't have to study in high school. And when I got to college, I panicked. I didn't know how to study. I didn't know where to go to or who to study with. And I took those first couple tests, and I got a couple calls from my grandma. So it wasn't too good for me. But like Garrett said, studying with people helps you a lot. A lot of those people come from backgrounds that they just do the hardest they can in school. They do the most they can, and they can help you. And when you surround yourself with people like that, you can become one of those people. So studying with those classmates, getting help from your professors beforehand, before you get in a rut, do that early so you don't have to climb back after being set back.
Studying for me was harder in college because it's just so much information at one time. And so what he said is true, like repetition, like reading it over and over again, doing flashcards or something, because you can't just read it one time and pass. Like, it just doesn't work like that. So probably repetition, and then I personally study by myself just because I can't focus that well with like other people around. So it's really just what's best for you.
Do you know of any resources that your school has for helping you to study or helping you to get acclimated with college life?
Personally, my school has a tutoring center that for your not for certain core classes, but like for your more common classes, you can go in there and receive help from a peer. Sometimes the peer could be your age, it could be a senior, it just depends. And then for my specific department, like the School of Engineering, they have tutoring resources located in those buildings. So those are the two resources that I'm aware of at my school that I have taken full advantage of.
The exact same ones. I go to the same school as him, so everything he said, you got it.
We have a 24-hour everyday ACE center. It's where students come to get help in their professional, like in their major. So you have computer science tutors, you have math tutors, you have whatever your major is, they have 3 or 4 people who will be there that have graduated or know exactly what you're going through. They have 3 or 4 people on the same subject because a lot of people may know different things. So they give you a good chance to get your questions answered. So you're never left thinking like, oh, I didn't get my answer to this question, or I didn't understand this. There's somebody in that room that knows exactly what you need.
At my school, we have a learning center that helps you with like your resumes, if you need tutoring and things like that. And then for the transition, we have first year interest groups that like kind of groups you with about 15 people so you at least know somebody on your large campus. So you can like know people, make it more familiar, make the campus smaller, and so that helps with the transition as well.
Oh, may I add something? One more that like I recommend all all college students take advantage of is the Career Services Center. I believe most schools to have them, and the purpose of the Career Services is to help us like build a resume and learn how to network and learn how to talk to different companies and recruiters. So when it's time to graduate or it's time to intern, we can find jobs.
And I can personally attest to that as well, because I got involved with the Texas Historical Commission through our career services down at Prairie View. So they offered me an internship opportunity because of a job fair that our career services department had. And I looked up and got the internship, and now I'm here in a full-time career with them. So please, when you go down there, it's all about networking. It's all about who you know, not so much what you know, but just making sure everybody knows your face. Be cordial to everybody, because you never know who you're talking to. You could be talking to the next president, the next governor. You just never know. So just always be cordial and network with everybody when you're at these colleges and universities, because like they said, these are some of the smartest people in your generation right there with you. So
thank you all. So one of the areas that was mentioned is the resources available on campus to help you with tutoring and your academic studies. It's also important to know that pretty much every college campus is going to have counseling services as well. And typically they are free for all students. When you're making that transition into going into adulthood, being in college, being in a new environment, we want to make sure that you're keeping tabs on your mental health and your mental wellness as well. And that goes hand in hand with your studies and your involvement in college. And I want to say, never feel ashamed if you feel like you need to go and speak with someone. They are there. Even if you don't think you need to, you're paying for it. Go talk to somebody just to get your money's worth out of college, whether it's your own money or whether it's scholarship money. But that is a really important tool that you have available to you as you're making that transition and while you are a college student. Also, as it was mentioned about career services, it is critical for you to be involved. You can have a 4.0 GPA and not get a job after college. People want to know who you are. You need to get access to people and to companies. And so having an internship in many cases opens the door for you to have a full-time position. It also gives you the opportunity to apply what you're learning and see if what you're studying is really a career interest for you. I mentioned I changed my major. I'll tell you my story about that. When I was in school, I was great in math and science, and I could write pretty well also. So I thought that I wanted to be an accountant. And if there's any accountants in the room, I'm not knocking you. But when I sat in my first 2 accounting classes, I felt like I needed to go to counseling services because I felt like it was torture. I did well in the classes, but I didn't like it at all. And so I was like, okay, I have to find something else to do. And I was like, well, I want to be a pharmacist. I like interacting with people at the pharmacy. I had to do it a lot my sophomore and junior year due to illnesses within my family. And then I started working at a pharmacy. And I realized it wasn't the pharmacist job that I liked. It was more of the pharmacy tech. But that's not what I wanted to do. And so I was like, okay, I have to figure something else out. But I had thought before with all of those areas, if I study business, you can always use business practices no matter what you're doing. So I received my degree in business, but when I graduated college, I started teaching high school. I didn't do a business internship. And I enjoyed teaching high school, but then I was able to find a job that blended teaching, education with business, and I absolutely love it. So I say all of that to say get exposure to what you're interested in doing. Shadowing, internships, externships, those are great opportunities for you to test the waters, and also if you do enjoy it, for you to be able to set yourself up to have the networking, have the exposure to get the job that you're looking for when you graduate. Also, don't wait until your senior year to start your job search, because there are many people that have already started the year before you. And you can talk to your career advisors about when you start the different process, depending on your major, the industry, and the job function that you're interested in.
And don't be too overwhelmed by all this because you can also start your first 2 years of college as undecided and just do all of your basics until you have a solid definition of what you want to do with your life. So if you always want to start off as undecided and just get your basics off the way, that's what I did myself. So I would definitely highly recommend that. Are any of you current students involved in any organizations, activities on or off campus?
I'm involved with my school's National Society of Black Engineers chapter.
NSB, okay.
Known as NSB. And another student outreach program is called SPOT, where we talk to high school and junior high kids that are interested in college. And with NSB, it's a huge networking thing. We just came off a conference in Arkansas, where we were able to meet other black engineers from other institutions throughout this region, talk to companies, learn insights, get like any advice from like the upperclassmen. Like I just got my first internship, and I was asking a lot of the older NSB members, like their seniors and graduate students, I was asking them like key takeaways, things to look out for, like, and how to conduct myself professionally in a professional setting.
I'm not in any yet, but I'm planning on joining SPOT as he mentioned.
I'm part of the Black Student Union Club at our college, the First Generation Club, our Collegiate Student Athlete Association, and I participate in student services there.
I'm involved with Black Student Alliance, Black Women Wellness Organization, and I'm also in Kinesiology Club.
Wow. Well, good. Make sure you guys stay involved. Like she was saying, you have to get your faces out there, so these little organizations will always do you good. There's no wrong you can do with giving back. When you guys are picking your schedules and your classes, what do you prefer? How do you pick your schedule? You rather morning time, get your classes over with, wait till late in the day to get your classes, or how do you guys pick your schedule? How many hours you take etc on average?
My schedule is not random, but it's kind of varies because the different engineering classes that I need are sometimes offered at the kind of strange hours.
The 6 to 9s. Yeah.
So I try not to schedule an 8 a.m. class. Class at 8 a.m. is not the same as it was in high school. It's very difficult to get up for, and you will have 8 a.m. exams, 8 a.m. finals. Everything is going to happen at 8 o'clock because that's what time you schedule for. So I try to do around 9:30 to 10 o'clock, and I'd like for my day to not go past 4, because if you start off at 9:30 and go till 4, you'll be beyond drained, and it's going to be hard to get any homework or any studying done later in that day because you're tired because you've been up all day. So I try to keep it in like a short range and no late classes unless I have to. Like my labs are generally 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, but I try to keep as early as I can, but not too early to where I can still get up.
I like to keep my classes early, like 8 a.m.s, and then I get like a 1 p.m., and then you have the time to do homework, study, and get all the extra things you got to do in your day.
Our coaches usually tell us how to schedule ours. I have an 8 a.m. every semester I've been there. So I'm usually done about 1 o'clock. Only have 2 classes a day. I like to even it out so you don't get overwhelmed with too much. Like you said, it correlates with like your finals and like exams and stuff like that. So I know a lot of my friends take like 4 or 5 exams in like one day. So I couldn't handle that. So I like to even it out and not put too much on my plate, but like make sure you have the time to do whatever you want to do.
When it comes to picking classes, our academic advisors do most of the work. So like we have a degree plan and we have classes we have to take, and they kind of just pick it for us. The only thing we usually pick is like electives, and that can be in the morning or afternoon or any type of time, but really the academic advisors do most of the work for us.
And we pay them too, so make sure they do their jobs out there, students. And you only have to take 12 hours to be a full-time student and get those scholarship benefits and everything that you're looking for with FAFSA. So I would recommend too, I took my time, I would take 12 hours a semester, and that's only 4 classes a semester. So, and I still got through college the same time, and it was a lighter schedule, so you can mentally handle that because it is a strain. If you haven't been to college before, it's a different experience. So, what would you guys say your educational goals and career goals are in the future?
As far as educational, right now, is to stay with the same major I started with. I'm kind of far off. I'm about halfway there. I'm at the 60 credit mark, and I would say career goals. I'm checking down one with the securing the internship. Now, short term is going to be me getting offered back by the same company to come back, and long term is going to be to secure a job, hopefully by fall of my senior year. I want to have like something locked in, so when that spring semester comes around, I'm just finishing my senior classes, finishing out my lab, and getting my GPA dialed in, because once you graduate, that's it. Even though it won't matter as much, that's still the GPA you're stuck with.
I want to stick with my same major, and I want to get my GPA up as high as I can, and I want to be able to have a job by my senior year and have a good job when I'm out of school.
I'm sticking with my major, computer science. I want to say I'm going to try for my master's degree, and then after I get my degrees, just be my version of successful. Do something that I want to do without feeling like a job always. So just want to have fun. Like after I get out of college, do something I love.
Educational goals right now, I'm trying to graduate a year early. I'm on the track to. Right now I'm like a sophomore in credits. So I'm trying to graduate early, and I also want to do my master's program as well. And so I want to graduate early so I could go ahead and start doing that. And for career goals, I want to become a sports psychologist. So like take care of athletes' mental health and like on the collegiate level or professional level.
Well, they say when you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. So I hope that those goals come true for each of you. At this time, we want to open it up to the audience and see if you all have any questions that you would like to ask to our students. If so, please come to the mic here. And this is open to parents, administrators, as well as current students. Come on down, don't be shy. Or I'm going to start calling you out to ask a question. How's the food?
It is still cafeteria food. I go to a HBCU. They cook a lot of soul food, a lot of food from different cultures, but at the end of the day, it's still like highly regulated, and it sometimes won't come out as bland. Sometimes it'll be soggy. Sometimes it'll be stale. We do have Catfish Friday.
The catfish be salty, bro.
That is the highlight of my week. I know if I cook every day during the week, I'm not gonna cook Friday afternoon. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna go eat my catfish, my macaroni, my cabbage. But I would say it's still cafeteria food. And as soon as you're available to have a dorm that has a kitchen in it, I would take full advantage of that, because having the option to cook yourself when the cafeteria is serving something you don't like is perfect.
Yeah,
I cook all the time at my place. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't ever cook, so I honestly miss my grandma's cooking. That's one of the things I miss most about home, is being here. Looking forward to that sometime this week.
No call outs.
Yeah, you know, not talking to anybody specific, but yeah, the cafeteria food it's not the best. You're not gonna like it when you get there. You're gonna get used to it. I eat out a lot, so that'll give some insight to it, but it's not that bad.
The cafeteria food is terrible. Like I ate there, I ate there for like the first week, but after that, I'm surviving off of snacks at this point. Like I don't eat the food. It's pretty nasty.
But you'll also make yourself go, because why not go use the money that they give you to eat instead of going and paying money and going to eat? So, yeah.
That sounds like that home where they tell you gonna eat what I cook.
No, for real.
Oh, and they usually have like a restaurant in there where they'll put like a certain amount of money on your card, and that you can like swipe your ID and get like food that you actually want. But I usually use that in like the first week or two, so use it wisely.
One thing I could say for students preparing to head off to college, those favorite meals that your parents cook, have them teach you to cook it and get some practice in before you ship out in August, because when you leave, they're not going to always be able to answer the phone when you forget a critical step, or when you make it and it comes out just slightly off.
Mm-hmm.
Is like getting a job or like keeping a job hard, trying to work with college and keeping a job, like, is it hard?
It kind of depends on what kind of job it is. When I was at my old college, I had a security job, and it was just on the weekend, so it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, it's just about like communication, like whoever you have to talk to. For me, it's my coaches. If you have a job, obviously you have to correlate it to your schedule and school. I don't work. I tried it. I couldn't do it. So, but for them, it's probably different.
The basketball is like a full-time job,
Yeah.
right? So that's a job in itself.
College campuses offer like work studies, and you can get a job on campus. you can get, and they typically keep you around, I'm gonna say at max 20 hours if you work somewhere on campus. That would benefit you a lot. But like they said, you'd have to schedule your day, like you would have to schedule like when you can work around class time, and you have to communicate with your management leadership about time you'll need off to study, exam dates, final dates, stuff like that.
I feel like it's manageable if you go through the college itself, like work study and jobs. Like maybe you could go work in like the dining if that's what you like to do, but it's manageable because they actually know your schedule. But like outside jobs, you got to work around it. A lot of time it could be hard.
Yeah, it would just be all about your time management, though. And I would say the biggest thing is try to find a job on campus first, because I was a lifeguard at Prairie View, and it was the easiest job I could have had in college. And they pay you good, and they understand your schedule because it is, an institution of learning still. So I would say look for a job on campus first. You can't find one there, then just try to find one that can really work with you.
And most jobs on campus will give you the weekend off. It's just Monday through Friday.
I had a couple questions. First, do you have any advice when it comes to recommendation letters and like who to ask, how to format it, anything like that?
My best example for a recommendation letter is Pastor Hendricks back there.
Yeah.
I have in my email somewhere, I have like three separate letters of recommendation. But you could ask like a coach, a mentor. I'd highly recommend to get a mentor while local. If it's someone who you like you see in the community and you just like how they conduct themselves, or if it's someone in the field that you're interested in, ask them to mentor you. That's a good one. And like I said, pastors, youth pastors, coaches are one. A family friend that's in like a high position that's seen you a lot and that's used to you is another one.
Pastor Hendricks is a good one, and you can use like your close teachers, all your coaches and stuff like that.
Recommendation letters, I wouldn't stress about it at all, because usually the people you're asking have done it before. They know what they're doing. So the hardest part about it is just asking, knowing who to talk to. You probably know a lot of people who can give you recommendations. Like they said, Pastor back there is a good one. And yeah, just ask people you know.
I feel like recommendation letters is all about like your relationships. So just be kind and like respectful to everybody you come across, because you never know like if you gotta go back and ask that person for a recommendation letter. Like it can get limited. Like if you burnt a bridge, it's like, ooh, can't go ask them. So just be kind and respectful to everybody.
And a piece of advice: make sure that the person that you ask has a relationship with you and they know your goals. It's helpful if you can give them a couple of pointers about what picture you're attempting to portray, so that they can give examples that support what you're wanting the readers to view. Also, timing. Make sure you give them enough time to write a strong letter for you. You don't want them to be rushed. So even when you're just thinking about it, let them know, next year I'm going to need a recommendation. I may ask you, and you can even ask them how long in advance would you need.
Thank you. I had another question.
One more. With the people that you get your recommendation letters for, always keep in contact with them and network, because you could use them for a job or internship down the line.
Thank you. I had another question. When it comes to like the athlete life, student athletes, can you describe like any advice on that, anything?
Don't quit. It's gonna be hard. It's not easy.
Yeah, one thing, like I said, going from high school to where it's an option and where you actually love it, to where going to college to where it's an actual job. Not a lot of people like the job they do, or they lose love for the job they do. So don't quit, stay in it, because it's a big part of your life. It's the reason why you went, right? So being a college athlete is sometimes you go through a lot of ups and downs. That's where the counseling and like the mental state of athletes is very important. It's a big load. It's a huge load of just responsibility, having to be a part of a team where everybody is on the same level, competitive nature, learning who new people are. I went to a college out of state, so I didn't know anybody out there. I didn't know anybody on the team until I actually got there, and they became the closest people I know today. So just stay in it, compete, become a family, and it'll eventually get you to win together, and you'll love it.
What sport are you trying to play in college?
I play baseball.
Baseball, okay. Yeah, I would just say, hey, learn that time management as soon as possible, because as a college athlete, you get no breaks. It's school, sports. You're going to be traveling on the weekend, so your social life is going to be limited too as well, but you're going to really find out if you love the sport you play when you go to college, like they were saying, because it really becomes your life. So, and everybody's there for the same reason you're there. To try to either get a scholarship and get through school, or try to be the best and go to the MLB. You just never know, but you just got to put your best foot forward, and if you really want it, just show you really want it through your action. So you can do it.
Thank you.
All right. What final piece of advice do you have for the students that are here today?
Oh, we have one more question.
Oh.
So I'm kind of like y'all. When I graduated, I was a student athlete. I walked on the football team at A&M, and I had absolutely no time. But I was also an engineer, and I got another degree. I got a physics degree. So I really had no time. But the couple things I wanted to say is, and I'd like to get your opinion, is you got to break it all down. Time management is a big thing, but you also have to pick your classes. One semester I had like 3 labs, 3 classes with 3 labs and football. It was crazy. It was my worst semester ever. The other thing, engineering and business. All these also, that a lot of schools give these degrees, but they also have to be certified. So in engineering, the engineering degree, as long as it's ABET certified, is engineering. Everybody accepts that out in the world. And I checked, Prairie View's ABET certified,
Yes,
so you're good. Go mechanical. Business also certified. So not only do you have to, I don't remember the university, something about Southern Business Schools, that's the certification. So not only do you have to look for your athletic degree, which one will allow you to play athletics and maybe a scholarship, but also you got to look for your degree plan too and make sure it's going to work for you after college.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Great advice.
I can say about the certifications, that is something that like I loosely knew about, and I would say if you do plan on majoring in STEM, to make sure that like make sure that your school is more than certified to teach and to get you to the next level and to help you find a career or help you find a job and make a career out of it.
All right, now we're to our final piece of advice for all of the attendees today.
Last piece of advice, I would say, as far as time management, making a schedule, do not shy away from high credit hour semesters. Like I'm an engineering major and I can't get away from it. On average, I'm taking 17 hours. So I would say you have got to learn to manage your time when you've got 2 and 3 labs. You've got to learn what time class works for you. Like how I said, 8 a.m.s are like the worst thing on earth. These guys recommend it. It really depends on how it works for you. And I would get on Rate My Professor and read about these professors, because you can't, like, you as well seasoned of a student as you can be, there are some professors that will be a bump in the road. They will hinder your performance because you're not used to that format of teaching. Or for me, I'm an engineer. A lot of my professors they're from out of the country, and they've got different accents and thick accents and different dialects that I was not used to before attending school.
I feel like my last piece of advice is just to take everything serious, apply to more scholarships, get as much money as you can, and just don't quit or whatever you do, just keep on going.
Last piece of advice would be while you're down here right now with your parents, with people who maybe siblings have been through it or have just grown up and have been through the trials of life, don't take this stuff for granted. Learn as much as you can from the people around you before you actually get out there on your own, because life's going to hit you no matter what. Stay dedicated. You'll realize that college is about just being dedicated and determined to finish. It's not so much about the schoolwork or who's smarter than who. It's just about are you willing to stay in it, and you'll get that degree if you just stay in it and stay dedicated, because that's what they're looking for. That degree tells you that you did the work, you put in the time, and you went through the same process that everybody else did. And we love that. We want you here because you were committed to doing that. It also shows that you put yourself toward a main goal and you're committed to it, and no matter what, you'll be able to get through it. Also, pray. The last thing you want to do is stray away from your church life. Sometimes you'll get out there and you may have nobody, like literally no one. You'll get in the hole and you'll realize that sometimes God is the only person that can make it better. So when you struggle in a lot of stuff, pray, and that'll give you a sense of just confirmation of like, I'll get through it. There's nothing in this world bigger than him. So just stay with it.
My last piece of advice would probably be to do what you want to do, like do what you're passionate about, whether it's like going to the workforce industry, going to the military, or going to college, because your parents and your friends' motivation will only take you so far. You have to want it yourself, because when it gets hard, like, you're the only one that can push yourself, and you have to want it bad enough. So don't do something that somebody else wants you to do. Do what you're actually passionate about.
And for me, I'll say never feel like you're alone, no matter if you're going into the military, the workforce, college, trade schools, technical schools, universities, junior colleges. Talk to the people that are already there. There's advisors, there's mentors, and find out that it's a good fit for you, and find out what resources they have and how you can go through the process for today's time. Because when I applied to college 20 years ago, it's very different from today. So I can give you what I know, but there are people that are there that can help you with what's best for today.
I'm gonna give y'all a little piece of advice my grandmother gave me before I left to go to school. She told me, don't go down there and forget where you came from. So I just want to say that to everybody. Remember where you come from. This is just a 4-year pit stop in your life, or if you may be getting your master's or doctorate, it may be a little longer, but don't forget where you came from. You went down there for a goal, to finish school, to get an education, and to further yourself and your family. So just don't forget where you come from, and find you 3 hobbies. One that you're passionate about, one that can keep you in shape, and one that makes you some money. So that's all I have.
We want to thank you all for your time listening to the panelists. To our 4 panelists, we really thank you for sharing your experiences with us. We'll give them a hand. And in closing, to our college students and to our high school students, one piece of information that we want to leave with you is that we want you all to do your best. As long as you do your best, no matter what the outcome is, we're proud of you. So thank you, and it will be time for lunch.
And we would also like to present our panelists with 2 gift cards, one for Chick-fil-A and one for Smoothie King.
Y'all come on, let's give our MCs a great hand. Did a great job. Our photographer, is he still here? Yeah. So he want to take a picture with the 4 of you guys and these 2 MCs. So if you guys just stand up there somewhere in the middle, and he's going to get a picture. Okay, y'all, let's give them another hand. Thank you all so much for being great MCs and also being great panelists. And as Ms. Johnson said, we're getting ready to go to the event center. We're going to have lunch. There's lunch for everybody. So if you can hear my voice, you can have lunch. All right. So we're going to go next door. We're going to have lunch. And then we're going to start the workshops promptly at 12 o'clock, if not a little before. Thank you.
Can you use it down here?